And now, Good Mic Work Commentaries and Greg Morgan presents the Winged Eagle Podcast.
WrestleMania 40 season is officially here, and I got to tell you, y'all, I am nervous. What's going on? Good Mic Work Commentaries back at you. Welcome to what I believe is the first Winged Eagle podcast of the new year, right? Happy 2024. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday on apparently this bitter cold January afternoon for some of you here in the U.S. It's a sunny 65-degree day here in San Diego. Sorry to hear some of you are chilly, but it is the season for that. So happy weekend, happy winter, happy new year, and happy Saturday. Brand new Winged Eagle podcast this week with a lot to talk about. And I know we have been having our podcast primarily focused on a lot of the CM Punk drama in AEW and what led to his downfall and departure there, coming back to WWE. That has dominated the headlines on this podcast for probably the last year or so. I feel like the next few podcasts is going to be heavily dominated by The Rock and Roman Reigns and what the plans are for those guys in WWE creatively. And today, what we're going to really primarily talk about, or not primarily, but what we're going to open with is last night's SmackDown. And we're going to talk about Paul Heyman addressing The Rock's comments from Monday night. And we're going to talk about what Roman Reigns was up to, sabotaging that three-way and now setting up a very, very interesting fatal four-way at the Royal Rumble for the title, which really makes you wonder, oh shit, are they setting up Roman for a title loss here? So there's literally, like I've been saying, 19 different roads they could take to get to whatever their destination is. But I have some opinions on, what I think they should do, what might be better, and everything that I talk about as it relates to The Rock and Roman Reigns and WrestleMania and Chamber and Rumble plans. These are only personal preferences. I'm not sitting here pontificating like my way is the only way to do it. So anyway, anything I say later is just going to be a personal preference from this fan's perspective. A lot of what's been going on lately on social media regarding this debate is, a lot of people telling you the way it should be. Don't be stupid. It's got to be this way. It's got to be this way. No, you don't be stupid. You are the ones that don't need to be stupid who are so aggressive with these opinions. Let's talk about it. Let's get some ideas. Let's throw some shit at the wall, see if anything sticks and see if anything sounds better than doing a very Vince-like move and clearing out all of your creative plans to make way for The Rock. There is a lot of 2013 and 2014 vibes going on with this situation. With in 2024 here, a lot of, a lot of similarities to what went on in early 2013 and in early 2014. And it's making me a tiny bit nervous, but I am optimistic. I am holding out hope that everything is going to be fine because WWE, with the business they're doing, how white hot they are, the crowd enthusiasm, the stars that they have on the roster that are actually over and doing well. I feel like, it would be foolish to completely disrupt that. So we're going to get into a lot of what I think about this and what maybe WWE could be doing. And if we have this thing sniffed out right, like it feels WWE might be going in one direction, but they might pivot and go somewhere else we're not even thinking of, because we have to remember this is Triple H in charge, not Vince. But The Rock being involved in this, his tie-in changes a lot. Plus what we heard from him earlier on this year when he was a guest on the Pat McAfee show about how they got to the table and then they put their pencils down and they wanted it to be special and all that nonsense. When you factor all of that stuff in, really makes you wonder what the hell we're going to see this WrestleMania season. And now how somehow CM Punk has become an afterthought, and he might not main event either one of these two nights of WrestleMania if, these plans go the way that we think they might go. So we're going to talk a lot about The Rock, Roman Reigns, WrestleMania, what that means for Cody's story, what that means for WrestleMania main events night 1 and night 2, what that means for the WWE title, what that means for Elimination Chamber in Perth, and what that means after WrestleMania. We're going to kind of look at all of that here as we get started. We'll also talk about the rest of SmackDown last night. Authors of Pain did finally return. We'll recap this past week's Dynamite. We will look ahead to tonight's Collision, and we will also recap a little bit of the interesting results from Wrestle Kingdom and New Year's Dash. Dolph Ziggler, Matt Riddle, now going to be making appearances and working for New Japan. That's very interesting. Plus, still a ton of news to get into as well, including Mercedes Moné's negotiations still ongoing. Not really sure yet where exactly her landing spot is going to be. Some expect her in AEW. Some expect her in WWE. What this means is that she's negotiating, and it's still not totally clear. But there's a lot of women going to both sides, you know, with Mariah May and Deonna Purrazzo showing up on Dynamite this past week. Mercedes Moné might be jumping over there. If not, she'll go back to WWE to possibly join Trinity Fatu and Camille and Julia. So women making a lot of noise in the news right now. So we'll be talking about that as well. We'll touch on that Bianca Belair and Montez Ford reality show. Anything else going on in the news you guys want me to touch on, we will. And yeah, that's kind of what's going to be on the menu today. Thank you for being here 30 minutes early. I got a big night at work tonight, so I had to come up a little bit early so we can have enough time to get everything in. But at least that means we will not be spilling into Collision tonight as well. So should be a fun podcast. Looking forward to getting into all of this. I'm going to let you guys know what to expect from us this week in just a second, but let me just go to the chat and say hello to everybody that has been waiting for me. Let's just start with the channel members like Tatanani, JJ Leg, Nick Musser, and Isaac in the house. Max Pokebruh. I don't see Roman losing at the Rumble. I don't care where Mercedes go. Nick Nemeth and New Japan looks fun. David Brown, happy to see you as well, my friend. Ken Webb, always happy to see you. And let's knock out these supers. First one from channel member Luke McAllister. Hey, Greg, with the return of The Rock, I'm wondering if this is WWE trying to make things more unpredictable with Roman and Cody and keep us guessing because I don't want Rock and Roman at Mania. Luke, that's the best case scenario. I mean, that's really kind of what I'm hoping here because as I'm going to talk about in a minute, there's a lot of 2013 and 2014 vibes going on here. And when we think about one of the primary reasons why CM Punk left the company in the first place, dates all the way back to what he said in his pipe bomb. The fact that Dwayne is main eventing a WrestleMania makes me fucking sick. Are we really going to find ourselves in that exact same position this year? Think about 2014. Cody, I feel like, is in the position of Daniel Bryan. Everybody wants Daniel Bryan. Everybody's clamoring for him. He's over like Rover. But WWE has no plans to do that. And then they had to, because they were bringing back Batista. Like Batista's basically playing the role of The Rock here. And it kind of derailed Daniel Bryan's plans. But then the fans pitched a huge fit. WWE had to pivot. And they put him over at WrestleMania. Maybe, I'm hoping that's still what they're going to do for Cody. When you think about the big decade milestones at WrestleMania, Brett at 10, Benoit at 20, Bryan at 30, Cody at 40. Doesn't sound right to have The Rock closing out this show as champion. And to be honest, doesn't feel right to have the Roman Reigns doing that either, because even though that would set him on a trajectory to potentially break Hulk Hogan's record, the fans are already sick of him. For the past 6 months, all we've seen are those stupid graphics on social media. Here's how many times Hogan defended his title. Here's how many times Roman Reigns defended his title. The fans already have a stick up their ass about the length of his title run. You want to add another year to that? Oh my God, I'm scared, you guys. I'm scared. Jimmy Anderson, good evening. Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for being here and for that very generous $50. Yeah, Max, I'm with you. I'm hoping, and with Luke, I'm hoping that this is Triple H fucking with us. I hope this is Triple H making us think one thing is going to happen, and then really at the end of the day, he pleases the fans. And that's what primarily we're going to be talking about here in just a second. Now, I want to let you guys know what to expect from us this week. Tomorrow night, big watch along planned. We put a poll up on YouTube, nearly 5,000 votes on this thing. Royal Rumble 1998 won by a landslide. I knew that it would. I put the 3 remaining 1990s Rumbles that we haven't done yet on the poll. We haven't done 1990, we haven't done 95, and we haven't done 98. All the other ones from the 90s we've done. So 98 won by a landslide. I think 1990 came in second place, so we'll probably do that one next week. And maybe we'll even bust out 95. But then after that, we're going to be done with the good Rumbles. We're going to have to start going into later Rumbles like 06, 07, 08, 09. And I'm not willing to go past any further than 09. Anything at 2010 up until now is all just way too recent for me. So I think 2009 is about as far back as I'm going to go on these classic watch-alongs. But we will be doing Royal Rumble 1998 tomorrow night. It's still a fun show. I've just never really looked back at it that fondly because it's painfully predictable. You know, it was 2 months after the screw job. WWE still reeling from that. And, you know, it just had such a predictable vibe to it. There was no other contenders in that Royal Rumble to win other than Austin. He was the only one. Look at the field. Who the hell do you think is going to go to WrestleMania and face Shawn Michaels? Farouk? Come on. Obviously it's going to be Austin, but big casket match, changed the trajectory of Shawn Michaels' career. Undertaker gets burnt to a nice, well done, crispy there at the end of the show, and we'll have fun with that one tomorrow. Royal Rumble 98 tomorrow night. Unfortunately, this Monday, I will not be here for a Raw review. I have to make a rare appearance at work. The Monday after that, Martin Luther King Day, also not going to be here for a Raw review because I have a family dinner planned, but we're going to make up for that. I'm off this coming Tuesday, so I got to look at my schedule. Maybe we'll try to bust out another members-only watch along, or maybe I'll come up here for a a Tuesday afternoon Raw review. Stay tuned for that. But tomorrow we will be here for Rumble 98, and that is all we really have going on in the immediate future, next couple days on the channel here. So wanted to let you guys know about that. Also good to see Mike Rouse, Rodrigo transferring heat, Jordan Smith, Lula Twins, Ben Espinoza, Arthur Jones, Tony, and anybody else, Nicola, T85, anybody else chiming in to say hello. Happy Saturday to every one of you. By the way, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button for me if you don't mind. And please click that subscribe button. I feel so silly saying that now. I just watched, me and Elizabeth watched the South Park special, the new one, where they're making fun of Logan Paul and his cred. And everything is like, smash the subscribe button and smash the like button. And now I feel like a fucking idiot for saying that stuff. But unfortunately, I'm a content creator. I'm a YouTuber. I need that stuff for this channel to continue its growth and success. So please hook me up with those favors. I would very much appreciate it. I've been sitting on a lot of this stuff. I was trying to tweet a lot last night as well during SmackDown because I had a rare Friday night off last night. By the way, thank you to Jacob Zombie Fighter for hooking me up with that SmackDown stream link last night. That was very helpful. So I was able to watch SmackDown, and during the show, I was tweeting a lot of ideas and opinions about Rock and Roman Reigns, and I think it's best that we just talk about what we saw last night first. So just to backtrack, on Monday night, which we were here for a Raw review, if you want my early opinions on Rock and Roman Reigns, we talked about that on Monday night, and I also uploaded a mic drop and even a 3-minute clip on my second channel. So you've got a lot of my early base opinions on Rock mentioning the head of the table thing on Raw, implying that a match between Roman Reigns and The Rock is now set. They would not tease this and blue ball us again. They're not going to do that. If Rock is saying it, it's going to happen. That's the way I look at it. So the match is going to happen. So that's a done deal. When is it going to happen? Where is it going to happen? We talked a lot about that on Monday night. Last night on SmackDown, Roman Reigns did not address The Rock directly, but Paul Heyman did backstage. Now, Heyman brought up what The Rock said and, did mention to him, hey, you can't just walk right in and then just try to take a shortcut to the head of the line. He brought up Cody Rhodes, CM Punk. He brought up Brock Lesnar. He brought up John Cena, name dropped a lot of people, but basically kind of blew off The Rock's, I guess, half-assed challenge to Roman Reigns. So Heyman addressed it. So that furthers that. But also in the main event of SmackDown last night, they had advertised, it was the big New Year's Revolution show, by the way, on SmackDown last night. And the main event was going to be a triple threat number one contenders match. LA Knight, AJ Styles, Randy Orton. Excuse me. The winner of this match would face Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble for the championship. Now, we were kind of assuming right when Randy Orton came back that it would probably be Randy Orton and Roman Reigns. I would have been fine with that if that was the Rumble match. But there was also I think WrestleVotes had tweeted out a couple of hours before SmackDown, kind of spoiling that the plan was going to be to have a fatal four-way at the Royal Rumble. So last night, it's AJ, it's Orton, and it's LA Knight. LA Knight gets busted open, by the way. I did not catch how he got busted open, but he looked like he was in rough shape. He actually looked like he was in pain, so that looked like it wasn't planned. Got his bell rung a little bit. And AJ Styles, I think, goes for the phenomenal forearm on Randy Orton, and of course, Randy counters into an RKO. It's fucking beautiful. And then Roman Reigns' music hit. And at the minute his music hit, I'm like, there's your triple threat, because Nick Aldis is at ringside. So why would he be out there, you know? And I'm like, okay, Roman's going to come in. He's going to attack everybody. He's going to fuck everything up. He's going to piss Nick Aldis off, and Nick Aldis is going to make the fatal four-way. I had that figured out in my head before Roman was even done making his entrance. So he comes out. He's got Solo and Jimmy with him. He gets in the ring. He attacks Randy Orton. He just starts attacking everybody. And Nick Aldis goes to Paul Heyman. The camera catches this. Now, Roman doesn't know any of this is going on. Roman is still doing shit in the ring or whatever. And Nick Aldis tells Paul Heyman, you can inform your client that he has now just booked himself in a fatal four-way. He's going to face all three of these fucking guys at the Royal Rumble. And what's funny is this is a pretty common trope. We've seen this a few times throughout history where it's a number one contenders match and the champion fucks it up and then the GM is like, fuck it, you're facing all these guys. We've seen this a bunch of times. So I just wonder, you know, a champion with the, you know, main eventing 9 straight WrestleManias in a row and all of the accolades and experience and championship resume that Roman Reigns has, how did he not know that if he goes out there and fucks that match up, that he could piss off the GM and that could lead to, you know, are you guys all right on your, and that could lead to a triple threat. I'm looking good here. I'm looking, I just want to make sure you guys can see. Oh, we're fine. We're fine. I just started getting all pixely on my monitor over here. I was making sure you guys were good, but we are good. So why wouldn't Roman Reigns kind of see that as a possibility, like the Roman Reigns character, you know what I mean? So sure enough, Nick Aldis makes the fatal four-way and the show goes off the air. WWE released a digital exclusive after the show of Roman Reigns coming to the backstage area, coming through Gorilla, and that's where Heyman informs Roman what Nick Aldis told him. And Roman's kind of, does not look happy. And then he just tells the wise man, fix this. So he does not want to have the match against all three guys. And that's what Nick Aldis has set in place. So we will see if this is just a teaser or if Nick Aldis will change it to maybe run that triple threat back and they determine another number one contender or whatever. But probably it's going to remain as the fatal four-way. I don't think they're going to change this again. Roman Reigns is now going to have to defend his title against all three guys. Okay, so what are they setting up here? Because in my mind, this sets up 2 possibilities. The first one is a little bit scary. The first one is, okay, WWE is planning on doing The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. If they did that, it really wouldn't be able to be for a title match, for the title, right? Because we have so many hypotheticals to think about here. Let's say hypothetically WWE wants Roman Reigns and The Rock at WrestleMania. Well, the only way it can be a title match is if The Rock wins the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber, right? The only way The Rock can get a title shot against Roman Reigns or a title shot at all at WrestleMania is to either win the Rumble or win the Elimination Chamber. It's got to be one of those two. Royal Rumble's probably out, but Elimination Chamber might not be. But could you imagine The Rock winning the Elimination Chamber? That would be so fucking bizarre. He'd be better off winning the Royal Rumble, to be honest. So The Rock would have to win the Royal Rumble. So if WWE wants to do The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, it either has to be for the championship or it doesn't. So in order for it to be for the championship, Rock can't just be given that match. Not at WrestleMania. Elimination Chamber he could, but not at WrestleMania. He can't just be given the match. He has to win the Rumble or the Chamber. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So if they still want to do the match at Mania, because a lot of fans have this programmed blind opinion that the match can only happen at WrestleMania, which is ridiculous, but that's the way they feel. It can only happen at WrestleMania. Perhaps WWE has that same thought. But if The Rock isn't going to win the Rumble or the Chamber, he can't get a title shot. So what do? Do you take the title off of Roman Reigns before he even gets to WrestleMania? Is that what they're setting up here in the Royal Rumble? Roman Reigns losing the championship, this long, historic 3.5, nearly 4-year run is going to come to an end in a fatal 4-way where he doesn't get pinned? We are going to, like I said in my last episode, one of the things I don't want is for them to hotshot Roman's loss just to make room for The Rock's creative plans. Fuck that. But that might be what they're doing. we might actually have Roman Reigns lose the title at the Royal Rumble without being pinned. Let's say Randy Orton wins the championship. And then Cody can just finish his story against Randy Orton. Randy Orton and Cody have a lot of history. Cody finishing his story would be great, but I feel like part of Cody finishing that story is to beat Roman Reigns, not Randy Orton. And let's say this hypothetical is legit. Let's say WWE is going to do Roman and Rock at WrestleMania, but not for the title. So they get the title off of the title off of Roman early at the Rumble. And then Cody wins the Chamber, like maybe Punk wins the Rumble, challenges Seth. Cody wins the Chamber, challenges Orton. You know what that means? It means that one of the two world championships, probably Roman's, might not even main event either night of WrestleMania. If Seth and Punk is night one main event, where does Cody and Orton fit in? Undercard on night two? And Roman and Rock is the main event on night two? Am I the only one that just thinks that's fucking crazy? That's crazy. It's the biggest match they could do. They need to do it at WrestleMania. Listen to what you're saying. How good do you think this match is going to be? Rock is 52 years old. He got winded after a people's elbow. He's sucking wind. The first 3 rows passed out of oxygen deprivation. Would have been funny if it wasn't so sad. Sound familiar? So how is that match going to be? The closing thing, the final thing you see at WrestleMania 40 is The Rock trying to stumble his way through a fucking wrestling match and then getting beat by Roman Reigns. And then here we go. One more WrestleMania with Roman Reigns celebrating with pyro going off. Don't you think there's going to be a large portion of the audience that's not going to be happy about that? But it fits into your, this match can only happen at WrestleMania, so it's got to be there. Fuck everything else. Is that really what we're doing here? Think about the consequences. Think about what would happen if Roman and Rock happened at WrestleMania. Like I said, either Rock needs to win the Chamber or the Rumble to get the title shot, or you take the title off of Roman, making the match not for the title. If Rock and Roman happens at WrestleMania, those are your two options. So in the chat, which one would you prefer? Neither one sound great to me, to be honest. I don't want to see the Roman's title run end this abruptly just so they can do the match with Roman. And then you got Cody finishing his story and it's all fucking discombobulated and it's not the way we kind of thought it was going to be. Or are they setting up for something else? This fatal 4-way at the Royal Rumble is coming off the heels of about a year now of fans complaining, just like they did about Brock. He's not on the show enough. He's holding the belts hostage. He's never there, and all that shit. Same stuff we heard about Brock. It's now happening to Roman. Just like all the Triple H heat got transferred to John Cena, just like all the John Cena hate got transferred to Roman Reigns. Now the Brock heat is getting transferred to Roman Reigns. It all just moves around. That's all it does. Same stuff, same arguments, different people. So Roman isn't on the show, and people have been bitching about that. A lot of comparisons of the Hogan title defenses. I'm telling you guys, if WWE's business model and the majority of their profits came from TV deals and media rights deals back in the 80s like it did now, then those two, and WWE's primary source of financial revenue now was live events, you would see those two numbers reversed. If Hogan didn't need to be working the live events, he wouldn't have been. But that was where WWE made their money, on the ticket sales. Different era, different time, different circumstances. Now it's all in TV rights. They don't rely on the house show revenue like they did. That was all of their business back in the 80s. It's just a fraction of it now. So it's a different time. You can't compare those two numbers because they're not the same. Those 400 and some odd Hulk Hogan title defenses, those were, 4-minute matches on the house show loops, every night and was never televised or anything. So the fans have already got that shit in their head. They're already mad. They're already frustrated. They're already tired of Roman Reigns. So what better way, in my mind, to send Roman Reigns into WrestleMania to face Cody than to give him all of the possible momentum imaginable? And this is what I mentioned on Monday. Pride goeth before the fall, right? You get Roman beating The Rock, let's say, at Elimination Chamber. He's going to think he's untouchable. He's going to think he's bulletproof. He's going to think nobody can beat him ever. And he's going to have so much confidence, and that's going to be his downfall. But what if you add, prior to the Elimination Chamber, he beats 3 top stars on the same night in one match, beats them all. What if he stacks them bitches? Remember Danielson and Edge at WrestleMania? What if he stacked AJ, Orton, and Knight? Maybe not Randy Orton. Maybe get Randy Orton. Randy takes a table bump, and then he stacks AJ and LA Knight and pins them both in the ring. And he's going to be on SmackDown just, talking so much shit. My cousin, my 51-year-old movie star cousin, thinks he can stand a chance against me. Did you not see what I did to those 3 guys at the Royal Rumble? And then you set up the match for Elimination Chamber in Perth. Rock versus Roman Reigns. And of course, Roman beats him. Now he's beat 3 men in that fatal 4-way at the Rumble. 1 month later, he beats one of the greatest icons to ever live and the biggest movie star in the world. You talk about confidence. You talk about undeniable confidence in all of the momentum, steamrolling Roman right into WrestleMania, where now he has to face Cody again. And that's where it all ends. That is a much better scenario in my head than the one I laid out a minute ago, with Roman Reigns dropping the title ahead of WrestleMania, Cody finishing his story against Randy Orton, and Roman and Rock not being for the title. A couple of things I want to discredit and just get out of the way. No triple threat. No, what if they make Cody and Roman and Rock a triple threat? No. What if Roman Roman works night 1 and night 2? What if he main events night 1 and night 2? No. You guys are fucking crazy. No. If Roman and Rock is going to happen, it's going to be a one-on-one. If Roman works both nights, I suppose there's still a way they could do that, but I really hope not. I don't think that's going to please the fans very much. It's going to be too much Roman. Roman is already starting to get under the skin of the fans in that way. Not mine. I love Roman. I love his title run. He could hold the belt for another 2 years. I wouldn't give a shit. But other fans do. And I think that if you keep pushing them, they're going to lose their patience. There is one other scenario that I've seen. I think a couple of you have tagged me in this, floating around out there, that I don't hate. One of the situations was scenarios is one that I brought up last year. Remember, right after Money in the Bank, they had that SmackDown scheduled for Madison Square Garden. And I was saying, what if Cody wins the Money in the Bank, and then after the match, he calls his shot? I'm cashing in this briefcase this Friday on SmackDown in Madison Square Garden, the same building where my dad nearly won that title from superstar Billy Graham. That seemed to be Cody's story. He wants to win the title his dad never won. And if he's able to do that in the same building where he had those matches with superstar Billy Graham, I always thought, dating back to last year, that would be so fucking special. So perhaps the only thing that would make Cody not finishing his story at WrestleMania okay is if he did it just a short time after that at some Madison Square Garden TV. Perhaps the first SmackDown on USA. Again, you'd be waiting another 7 months, but by that point, whenever that debut show is, which I guess would be in October, if you do the math, that should put Roman's run past Hogan's. Hogan held the title from January of 84, late January of 84 to early February of 88. So like 4 years and 2 weeks. So if the season premieres in October, Roman Reigns will have held his championship longer than Hulk Hogan. Again, you're asking the fans to wait, and you're asking them to wait for a television show and not doing this at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's the right situation or not. I don't know if I'd be in favor of that or not. But the idea of Cody Rhodes winning the championship in Madison Square Garden is sexy to me, and I like that a lot. Maybe not as much, though, as Cody winning at WrestleMania 40. I just feel like these decade WrestleManias are the ones where you kind of have the people's champion, no pun intended, not that people's champion, but the baby face, the guy, Brett, Benoit, Danielson, and now Cody. That seems so much more better of a scenario than the Rock and Roman Reigns. Like, how are they going to do that, guys? If Rock and Roman Reigns happens at WrestleMania, listen to everything I just said. He's either got to win the Rumble or the Chamber, or Roman's got to drop the title. None of that sounds good to me. None of that sounds like a scenario that would be good. But fans are so focused in and so keyed in on this just one direct opinion that match can only happen at WrestleMania. Will you please at least think a little bit outside of that box? Please, I'm begging you. Fine. It can only happen at WrestleMania. Fine. Then think about what the implications of that would be if it happened there. How that would screw up your creative, and how now you're looking at a situation where Rock either has to enter the Royal Rumble and win it, enter the Chamber and win it, or you take the title off of Roman. There are no other ways to get that match done at WrestleMania other than one of those things happening. And it just doesn't sound good. A better way to fit everything into the equation without getting anything disrupted is to do the match at Elimination Chamber in Perth. They're not going to do it at Elimination Chamber. That would be like debuting Stone Cold In Your House. No, it wouldn't. This is a stadium show in Perth. It's going to be jacked. It's going to be packed. This will be your main event. It's going to be white hot. WWE, if you haven't noticed, is in the middle of a huge international expansion right now. They just announced Money in the Bank for Toronto, and they are recognizing that we got Backlash in France. These are going to be big, mega shows that they can count on, that they can guarantee are going to be packed, sold out, and white hot. I think, like I said, I laid all this out on Monday. WrestleMania 40 is already a success. It's already sold out. It's already going to set all of the financial records. It's going to do more business than WrestleMania 39. It's already set all of the records before it's even happened. I guarantee you we're going to hear WWE's going to tout their bullshit after the show, the highest grossing thing, the highest gate, the most attend. I mean, everything is just going to be the most it's ever been for WrestleMania. It's going to be a humongous success with or without The Rock. The Rock could be completely disappeared from this whole situation, just like last year, and WrestleMania can be fantastic. So why not double your money? I feel like the financial impact that The Rock would have, the financial effect that The Rock would have on Elimination Chamber would be much greater than WrestleMania. WrestleMania is already going to be a success. They don't even really sell a ton of pay-per-view buys anymore because it's all on Peacock and whatnot. But in terms of how The Rock could add more to WrestleMania, WrestleMania is already going to be huge, man. It's going to be so fucking big. And if you put The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, all you're doing is giving it the WrestleMania stage at the expense of fucking up everything else. Where you have another stadium show, this one's an international show with a crowd that'll probably be more enthusiastic and energetic than anything we see here in the States. I'm telling you, the crowd might have been hot for The Rock in San Diego, but that act is tired. That act is lame. That stupid, typical Rock nursery rhymes and his insults are going to get old if we see that shit on TV for 12 weeks leading up to WrestleMania, to the point where when The Rock gets in the ring, he might get booed. Do you guys remember what city they are in? The same city that The Rock and Roman Reigns stood right in the middle of the ring of at the Royal Rumble back in, 2015, and they both got booed right out of the fucking building. That's the same city. And I just don't know by the time we get to WrestleMania and that match happens, if it's going to upset enough of the crowd where they're not going to give a shit about the match. That could happen. It definitely could happen. We've seen it happen before. You know where it won't happen? Elimination Chamber. That crowd is going to eat that match up. They are going to be eating out of the palm of those guys' hands. They are going to be on the edge of their seat. I feel like if Roman Reigns and The Rock took place at Elimination Chamber, and this is a bold statement here, okay? But hear me out. If Rock and Roman Reigns took place at Elimination Chamber, I feel like that match could have the same level of crowd energy and crowd enthusiasm that The Rock and Hulk Hogan did at WrestleMania 18. Because Rock can't do a lot. He's not going to be, the match is not going to be great. Just like The Rock and Hulk Hogan wasn't great. What they relied on was the crowd. The crowd is what made that match one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. You put that match in an empty arena, you laugh your ass off at how bad it is. You put it at WrestleMania 18 in Toronto, in Skydome, in front of that audience. Nostalgic for Hogan, same building where he beat Warrior a few years earlier. Whole different story. And now international crowds are already 10 times hotter than U.S. crowds as it is. It's a stadium show. It's the main event. Everything is there. It would be a great way to boost, the international expansion and make all the other, cities in countries around the world realize that, hey, big things are going to happen. Like, look at what Saudi Arabia was doing. Saudi Arabia, same thing. They were demanding big matches. Shawn Michaels came out of retirement for them. Undertaker and Goldberg and Roman Reigns. We've seen a lot of mega matches at Saudi Arabia too. We are well past the era of this match can only happen at WrestleMania. Junior, not anymore, not with Saudi Arabia and all these other cities around the world now making bids for WWE pay-per-views. Money talks, bitches. Money talks. And think about how much that Elimination Chamber show in Perth could mean if the match happened there, if that's the main event for Elimination Chamber. Rock versus Roman Reigns. That would be so much better. You could do so much stuff there, man. You could have the Rock and Roman main event. Cody could win the Chamber that night, and then challenge the winner of Rock and Roman or whatever. You could have, Rollins could have his title defense against somebody. I don't know what's going to happen with Rollins at the Royal Rumble now. And if maybe the Rock being here puts Rollins and Punk in the ring together early. Maybe they wrestle. Well, no, they're not doing Rumble. Maybe they do Elimination Chamber. Maybe it's Rollins and Punk at the Chamber for the championship. And the women have a chamber and the men have a chamber and, Cody wins that. Rock and Roman in the main event. Think about that card. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns and The Rock, and Cody winning the chamber and probably Becky winning the chamber for the women. Maybe Becky wins the Rumble. So maybe Bianca wins the chamber and she challenges Io. Right? Who knows? Who knows? But think about how that card would look. Think about what that would do to Elimination Chamber. The way I see it is The Rock facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania ruins and compromises WrestleMania season creatively, where Rock and Roman Reigns happening at Elimination Chamber elevates it, makes it even better. Because nothing is going to be disrupted. We're going to be able to have our cake, our Rock cake, and we're going to be able to eat it too. Rock comes in, big, huge mega match with Roman Reigns, stadium show, puts him over, ties it in with his promotion of the new football league or whatever. That could also have be a big part of this. And then Roman Reigns goes into WrestleMania with all of the momentum in the world. Fans are fed up with him, sick of him winning all the time, and Cody finishes his story. That would be amazing. But there's another part of this that makes me worried, and that's what Rock said last year when he was a guest on that College Game Day edition of the Pat McAfee show or whatever. Or maybe it's the NFL Game Day edition. I don't know. And he was talking about how they were close to having that match done at 39 in LA. We were so close. We were ready. We were all on board, but then, we put our pencils down because I've always said, if I'm going to do this, what can we do that, that would be the beginning of something even bigger? And just the way he was wording everything. And I was like, that motherfucker wanted to win. He wanted to win. And WWE pushed back and say, So if that is the case, and my instinct was right last year, and the way The Rock worded that whole explanation of why the WrestleMania match fell through, sounded to me like he wanted to win. And that's offensive to me. I love The Rock. I've met The Rock. I saw him wrestle when he sucked, when fans were chanting Rocky sucks, live and in person. Seen this dude's whole career from start to finish. Huge Rock fan. I was in the 11th row for This Is Your Life with Mick Foley. I've seen The Rock win the WWE title in person. I love The Rock. Watched his whole career, one of my favorites of all time. I do not want that motherfucker to beat Roman Reigns for the title. Hell no. I mean, are you serious? Are you serious? Come on. That would be insulting to me as a fan, especially because it's not like it was in the old days, like maybe 10, 12, 15 years ago when shit just sucked and you bring The Rock back and just throw everything at him because, yay, The Rock is back. WWE doesn't need him, man. Cody and Sammy and Rollins and Punk and they have so many over baby faces on their roster right now. They have star power on the babyface side, on the heel side, on the men's side, and the women's side. They are hurting for nothing here. So Rock doesn't need to come in and save WrestleMania for WWE. That's ludicrous. He needs to come in and elevate Elimination Chamber and make that a huge fucking show. But based on what he was saying last year, it makes you wonder that it sounds like The Rock wanted to win. Sounds like The Rock is only going to do this if it's a part of something bigger. if that's still his belief, if that's still what he wants, that means concessions had to be made on either side. That means either WWE and Triple H needed to say, okay, Rock will let you win, or Rock made concessions on his end. Okay, not only will I not beat Roman Reigns, but the match will also not be at WrestleMania. What's the benefit for him? The Elimination Chamber idea that I've been peddling fits perfectly for everybody, perhaps except for one person, and that's The Rock. And he's going to come in just to do the honors for Roman Reigns like that and leave? Is that what we're going to see? Does that sound likely? To be honest, that doesn't sound like a very high probability either. So I'm a little bit lost, to be honest. I don't know what they're going to do. And it would be cool, like we've been saying here, that, you know, maybe Triple H is toying with us a little bit, and maybe what The Rock said last year about this being part of something bigger, maybe it is. Maybe we're on the cusp here of the ultimate swerve. Here's a scenario for you. Royal Rumble. Fatal four-way. Roman Reigns defending his title against everybody. By the way, another thought on that Roman dropping the belt early stuff. Roman defending his title well, shit, we don't know. If that fatal four-way is the main event of the Royal Rumble, if that fatal four-way is the main event, we could have a problem. But if it's not, I really find it hard to believe that WWE would end Roman Reigns' historic run on the undercard of a pay-per-view. No, you know, and then Cody, and then maybe Punk wins the Rumble and closes the show. I mean, you would assume that maybe this year the men's Rumble is going to be the main event. That would be the assumption, but shit, maybe not. I forgot what my point was. Oh yeah, so let's fast forward to the Royal Rumble. Match is happening. Maybe we're on the cusp of the ultimate swerve. Let's say LA Knight and Roman Reigns take each other out on the outside on a table bump, leaving Roman Reigns and AJ Styles in the ring. So Randy Orton and LA Knight are taken out on the outside. Roman's in the ring alone with AJ Styles, and he is about to spear AJ Styles and retain the title until we hear The Rock's music. The Rock's music plays. He comes out to the ring. Roman Reigns is distracted, and everybody's thinking that The Rock is going to come out and cost Roman Reigns the title, right? He comes out to the ring. He gets in the ring, stare down with Roman Reigns. Remember, no DQ, so Rock can be in there. AJ starts to come to. Rock turns around. Boom, rock bottom to AJ Styles. Turns heel, helps Roman win, joins the bloodline. The Rock joins the bloodline. And he's now a member of the bloodline. He doesn't even want the match with Roman Reigns. He is he's acknowledging him already as the head of the table and the tribal chief. Rock turns heel, and everybody's like, they would never turn The Rock heel. Okay, motherfucker, just wait, because I'm telling you, we all know how fans can be. I can. I've been watching fans' behavior for fucking 4+ decades, man. These little bullshit nursery rhymes on TV, if we keep hearing enough of that from The Rock, the fans are going to get tired of it. Fans played along here in San Diego with the douchebag, what were they chanting or whatever? I forgot what they were even chanting, but Rock got them all to chant little silly things and stuff. And I just think that whole act that he obviously wrote down on the flight down with Brian Gewirtz in the private plane there coming down from Pasadena, that just isn't that appealing to me anymore. And I think the fans would feel the same way if they see too much of it. So I don't think turning The Rock heel would not work or anything. I think it's unlikely. Yes. If people say, oh, they're never going to turn The Rock heel, you're probably right. All I'm saying is it would be fun if that was a possibility or a scenario with Triple H. Another scenario is what I talked about earlier, this having the same type of vibes as 2013 and 2014. Back in 2013, what happened? The Rock came in and disrupted a long title run. Remember, CM Punk held the title all that time from 2011 all the way to January of 2013, and he ran into The Rock at the Royal Rumble, and The Rock beat him for the title, taking away what probably would have been a WrestleMania main event for CM Punk. Fast forward to the following year, Daniel Bryan on the rise. Everybody wants him. Batista comes back. They have him win the Royal Rumble, and they're going to have Batista and Randy Orton at WrestleMania, even in a press conference ahead of CM Punk leaving the company. Punk publicly endorsed Daniel Bryan. He goes, I think it's the Dragon's year. I think it's Daniel Bryan's year. I think he should be the one going to WrestleMania, but they're doing all this other dumb bullshit instead. He referenced this in his pipe bomb, even a couple of years before that. The fact that Dwayne is main eventing a WrestleMania makes me sick, is what he said, right? And then a year later, he turns heel on that Raw 1000 and sets up the Rumble match for months later, ends up dropping the belt to The Rock, then losing the rematch to him. And then he had to, still work the match with Undertaker at WrestleMania, which is a big match to be in, but it was not the main event. And his main event was taken away from him by The Rock, essentially. The next year, Daniel Bryan's main event was almost taken away from him by Batista. And so when you think about Punk's already existing history with this type of shit, and Cody Rhodes being in the same position that Daniel Bryan was in 10 years ago, it would be cool if they got tied into this somehow. And again, I'm sorry, I'm just not into fatal four-ways or triple threats at WrestleMania. I know they did that at WrestleMania 20 and 30. I know that. But I just don't know if I want to see Cody, Rock, and Roman. That would just feel like Becky, Charlotte, Ronda to me or something. I don't know if I want to see that. It's not out of the question because they have a history of doing this in main events before. So I suppose that could happen. But I kind of prefer no on that, especially if it came down to Cody's story. I feel like that should be a one-on-one clean victory over Roman Reigns. I think that's the way that should be told. But still, maybe Cody and Punk finding commonality here, common ground here to maybe, I don't know, join forces to try to take out this family. That's why, if Rock turned heel and joined Roman Reigns and joined the Bloodline at the Royal Rumble, your main event for Elimination Chamber could be The Rock and Roman Reigns teaming up in a tag team match to take on CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. That would be fucking awesome. But I think that's really getting off the path there. I feel like the Roman Reigns and The Rock match has two possibilities: the Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. I just laid out the hypotheticals for both. What would happen if Rock and Roman Reigns happens at WrestleMania? We know how that has to happen. Rock either needs to win the Rumble or the Chamber, or Roman drops the belt beforehand. That's the only way that match can happen. But if it happens at Elimination Chamber, you can just do it. Because if Punk wins the Rumble, he's going to be so pissed and focused on Seth, he's going to challenge Seth. The Rock then can essentially just be given his title shot without needing too much of an explanation, because it's just Elimination Chamber. And then you can book the men's chamber match, which Cody can win. That fits all so nicely. But is The Rock, based on what we heard him say last year about wanting his match with Roman Reigns to be huge and spectacular in the beginning of something monumental, doesn't sound like an Elimination Chamber match to me. That's where I have to agree with people that think this match could happen at WrestleMania. Yeah, it might. That might be what we're setting up here for. I just don't believe that the only place for this match to happen is WrestleMania. The only place that it can happen is WrestleMania. That is mind-bogglingly short-sighted to me, to think that black and white. Because when you think that way and you think about the WrestleMania 40 scenario with Roman and Rock, a lot of these people that say Roman and Rock should only happen at WrestleMania are the same ones that are losing patience with Roman Reigns' title run. So are you saying that you want this title run that you're already annoyed with to continue? Because if Rock faces Roman Reigns for the title at WrestleMania, Roman Reigns is going to win. Rock cannot win this match. There's no damn way, which means Roman's going to continue his run and break Hulk Hogan's record. I, for one, would love that, but not at the expense of a story that you already delayed 1 year as it is. I've seen people say, well, they'll just wait another year and they'll do it at WrestleMania 41 for Cody. I think that's too long. I think Triple H survived last year. There was a lot of backlash from Cody not winning. Some fans are still upset about that. I didn't think the decision was the right one, but I didn't think it was like a catastrophic fumble either. I still feel like it could be made up for. And in a lot of ways, WrestleMania 40 is a much better stage for Cody to have his moment than WrestleMania 39, just due to the milestone of the number. So I was willing to say, okay, let's see if Cody finishes his story next year. But with everything else going on now, with The Rock coming in and how that's going to disrupt potentially everybody's plans, the one way it doesn't disrupt anybody's plans is just to do it at the Chamber. I rest my case. So we will see what you guys have to say about this in the chat, and then we will get into the rest of what we're going to talk about. I knew we were going to probably spend close to the first hour on that because that's a lot. Let me see what's going on here. Let me answer some. Okay, YouTube fans, stop pontificating. Nobody's interested in that bullshit. We're all just talking about preferences here. None of this nobody, and we can't have this, we can't have that. Just stop. Just stop. But anyway, I want to knock out these supers before we get moving on the rest here. There we go. Who was the first one that I missed? Spaz, was it you? Nope. JJ, Leo Whalen, I think I got you. Okay, there we go. Leo Whalen, I want to say hello. Hello from Boston. Think WrestleMania rematch, Roman versus Rhodes. We've just been talking about a lot of that. JJ Leg, appreciate that 5 from you. Another Mania-worthy match in Cena versus Reigns happened at No Mercy for the first time. So I think Roman versus Rock can take place at Chamber easily. Yeah, the same thing was going around with the Mercedes Moné. We're going to talk about Mercedes in a minute, but with her being expected to come into AEW, a lot of fans were thinking she might show up on Dynamite. And of course, that triggered the smooth brain debate of, oh, they would never debut Mercedes on TV. She has to be for pay-per-view. What is wrong with you people? Why does it have to be on pay-per-view? Mercedes debuting on pay-per-view is fine with me, no problem at all, but it doesn't have to be there. There's nothing wrong with debuting on TV. Some of the biggest debuts in history have been on television. Scott Hall coming out on Nitro. A couple weeks later, Kevin Nash. Chris Jericho, probably one of the greatest debuts of all time, happened on TV. So many. Mankind debuting in WWE on TV. Steve Austin debuted in WWE on TV. A lot of people, when they come in, debut on TV. It's just a matter of where the best place is. If you have a pay-per-view on your calendar in the near future and you sign a big star, then yeah, do it on pay-per-view. But if you sign somebody big and your pay-per-view is still 2 months away, then you bring them in on TV. This idea that it has to be one way and it can't be the other is so fucking ridiculous to me in pro wrestling. I don't know why fans are like this. But yeah, I mean, you're right, JJ. There's other Mania-worthy matches that have happened other places, and especially now with the Saudi shows and with this big international expansion that WWE is kind of in the middle of with all of these pay-per-views. I mean, think about how hot and crazy Backlash is going to be, later on this year. So these are ways to really up these pay-per-views and make these pay-per-views must-see shows. Sometimes you get a pay-per-view that's just kind of like a throwaway or a whatever show. WWE is getting to the point where maybe over half of their pay-per-view schedule is going to be international shows, and I think that's great. So now with the size of these shows, we've seen what the shows WWE has put on at Crown Jewel and the mega matches we've already had there. It only makes sense that you're going to do it other places as well. So I think you think Roman and Rock can take place at Chamber easily. So do I. It's just a matter of does WWE. It doesn't matter really what the fans think or what I think. It's all on WWE. Spaz, appreciate the 5. I promise I won't at all be obnoxious in July as we approach the SmackDown Money in the Bank Heatwave weekend in Toronto. That's right. That's going to be a big old weekend for you. So it's going to be NXT Heatwave. You're going to have SmackDown and Money in the Bank. Big weekend coming this summer to Toronto. That is freaking awesome. 5 more from Spaz. Do the Cody fans that are worried Rock is going to steal his spot realize that's how anyone that's a fan of anyone not named Cody feels about? I don't understand. I don't know what that means. Do the Cody fans that are worried Rock is going to steal his spot realize that that's how anyone that's a fan of anyone not named Cody? No, I disagree. I'm pretty sure whatever you're trying to say there, I disagree with. I don't know what your problem with Cody is. Cody's fucking great. I'm hoping he finishes his story. Let me see. Who else? Randy Watson. Thanks for that 5, dude. This will be the best WrestleMania season of all time. If Rock and Roman Reigns happens at Elimination Chamber, I agree with you. I agree that it will. If not, I think I'm going to be spending a lot of this WrestleMania season being a little bit worried about WWE reinstalling Vince as head of creative. This just feels so much like Vince to me. It just has Vince fingerprints written all over it. Like if Roman Reigns and Rock happens at WrestleMania and they take the title off of Roman, it just feels like this is what Vince would do. And I just can't see it happening that way. Spaz has got 2 more. If it's a 3-way, you want Rollins, Punk, and Cody. Yeah, I don't want that. I'd rather have Rollins and Punk have their issue. Now you're shoehorning Cody's story to finish with another title. They're not going to do that. I still have faith that WWE will finish Cody's story properly. And I think that the majority of the fans would probably want Cody and Roman over Rock and Roman in the main event of night 2. I think what's going to start happening now is you're going to have fans who are going to start kind of going against their own interests just to win arguments on social media. You know what I mean? I think a lot of the fans that believe or say that number one, Cody shouldn't finish his story, or believe Rock and Roman should happen at WrestleMania, don't really want that. They just don't want to be wrong. So they're willing to be unhappy just to be right. This is where we're at in this world, which is fucking crazy. Gives me a headache. Stone Cold, you're still upset about it, about Cody? I'm over WrestleMania 39. I'm not upset about that anymore. But if they were to do something, like let's say back in 2014, if they would have gone through with their plans, right? If it would have been Batista, Daniel Bryan's eliminated from the Rumble, he tries to occupy Raw, they tell him to fuck off. It's Randy Orton and Batista in the main event of WrestleMania 30. That, to me, that alternate universe is what we would be looking at here if Rock and Roman faced at WrestleMania. I feel like it would be that damaging to the show and the stories that are already in place. And that would just be messed up. The good news is here, though, like I said earlier, that WWE, there's no way they signed The Rock on and negotiated a deal for him to work a match with Roman Reigns, but didn't know where it was going to be and what the circumstances would be. They're just going to say, okay, Rock, sign here. We'll figure out where you guys are going to wrestle later. No. They know what's going on. WWE internally probably knows what the plans are. We just don't. So with the announcement of the Fatal 4-Way last night, made me a bit nervous. I ain't going to lie. But anyway, let's finish up what else happened on SmackDown last night. Kevin Owens defeated Santos Escobar. This was a number 1 contenders match to face Logan Paul at the Royal Rumble for the U.S. title. Owens got the victory. Logan Paul was at ringside doing commentary for this, so he actually showed up on the show. Owens won with a stunner and then knocked out Logan Paul with a punch. Logan Paul, since winning the title, hasn't been on TV much. I really hope he drops it at the Royal Rumble, but part of me thinks he might hold it a little longer and maybe drop it at WrestleMania instead. Which just sucks that, the 2 big title holders on SmackDown just really aren't on the show at all. Backstage, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller kind of console Logan Paul. So that is a trio of delicious douchebags right there. They are meant to be together. They'd be a fun team or a fun faction. We also finally got the return after all these months of the Authors of Pain. The Authors of Pain, the AOP, apparently have been under contract at WWE for about a year, and they have not been brought back or used. Last week on SmackDown, we finally saw, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, we saw the vignette, Karrion Kross vignette, where we saw some silhouettes of what appeared to be Occam and Razor and Paul Ellering. And then tonight, or last night on SmackDown, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits came out to cut their promo. They're talking their shit. And of course, we knew we would see this. Karrion Kross and Scarlett, who now is rocking some dark hair. She looks great. They come out to the ramp or the stage, and Lashley and the Street Profits are attacked from behind by the Authors of Pain. Karrion Kross joins in the beatdown. They annihilate Lashley and the Street Profits and stand as a pretty good-looking faction there. 5-member faction with 2 managers. Wasn't sure how I felt about that at first, but I think that it could definitely play into some headbutting in the future, that type of thing. But, they're here. They're already together. They just formed. They're 1 week old. We're already thinking about splitting them up and stuff. So I think we need to chill on that. We'll see how this faction goes. I think they look great, but in terms of elevating themselves to a level of, where the Judgment Day is and stuff, they got a long way to go. So we'll see how it goes. But it's always great to see Paul Ellering, and he's back in the company as a manager again in 2024. pretty incredible, backing up the Authors of Pain, and they looked pretty good. Kind of looked the same. Don't think they've really been in the ring at all since they left, 4 years ago or whatever it's been. So they are back. Io Sky defended her women's championship against Michin Mia Yim in a pretty good match. Mia Yim, very hard-hitting match, and once again, she almost kills herself on one of those dives on the outside of the ring that she missed and just landed flat on her face. Fucking crazy. But a pretty fun match there. Really, really good. Io Sky wound up retaining, got the win in the end, but Mia Yim, pushed her to the limit and looked really good in the loss. And backstage, Damage Control with Bayley is celebrating with Io Sky, and Bayley's talking about the Rumble, and then Bianca Belair shows up and said that she's also declaring for the Rumble, which I think they already announced that. So Bianca's in there. And that was pretty much the end of that. We also saw Tyler Bate debuting on SmackDown, teaming up with Butch, who was basically just back to being Pete Dunne without the name. They defeated Pretty Deadly in a really fun tag match, and good to see Tyler Bate on SmackDown. So it wasn't really that great of a show, to be honest. We got the Fatal 4-Way announcement in the main event, and Owens is going to be facing Paul at the Rumble, and the women's match was very good. But otherwise, even the AOP debut was cool to see them, but it wasn't, I don't know, it didn't come off as overly exciting to me. So I think maybe like a mediocre episode of SmackDown last night, but the big news coming out of that is the Fatal 4-Way at the Royal Rumble and what that could mean for Roman's championship, and if WWE would actually be fucking crazy enough to take the title off of him in the undercard of the Royal Rumble. Nah, I don't see that happening. Let's get into some wrestling news, then we'll talk about AEW Dynamite here in just a second. Mercedes Mone has still not landed anywhere. There have been some, I'm not going to say conflicting, but there's just been some evolving and changing reports of where she could land. We've had some reports from FightFul and PWInsider, and I think Meltzer as well, speculating on where Mercedes would be going. Now, Fightful Select had reported earlier this week that their sources that they talked to expected, that's the key word there, expected Mercedes Mone to sign with AEW. She didn't debut on Dynamite. Then it was kind of reported that she is still talking to WWE. Now, we had already heard that contract talks between her and WWE had broken off, likely due to financial numbers. She apparently, I think, wants to be the highest paid woman in WWE. And it's not a matter of WWE being able to afford it. Of course they can. Is that a precedent they want to set? I don't know. If Sasha had some sort of a demand like that, if she has gotten her ego inflated to the point where she says, I have to be the highest paid, I don't know where these egos come from. Like, I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes. Like, if I'm negotiating my contract, I don't give a shit really about what anybody else is making. I want to make sure I make enough money for my family and myself to live comfortably and not have to worry about money ever. And that's all. It's not a race. I'm not trying to I just have more money than someone else just for the sake of having it. If I'm comfortable, I'm happy, and my family is safe and financially secure, what the fuck else do you need at the end of the day, So if she has this demand that I have to be the highest paid woman, honestly, I would pass on her too. I would say, okay, we understand. That's not something we're willing to do, though. Best of luck. Go sign with somebody else. In a couple of years, please come back to us. We'd love to have you. But we can't do that. That's what I would tell her. If I had any sort of, say or pull in WWE at all in terms of who gets signed and whatnot. So maybe WWE just said, sorry, we can't do that. But now it's been reported that maybe she still is talking to them. What this means is she's in negotiation. She's talking to both companies still. We still don't know. It sounds like it's probably going to be AEW, but nobody's reporting that as fact. Nobody's reporting that's what's going to happen. Nobody's going to know anything until she signs the deal and she debuts. All we can hear about, for people that like to read wrestling news and read about it online and like to keep tabs on that type of stuff, all we can do is listen to what the credible sources are hearing from their people. And that's it. And it sparked a lot of debate. Andrew Zarian got his life threatened over these reports and this speculation. Sean Ross Sapp has spent the last 2 fucking days trying to explain to idiots what the word expected means because nobody can read. It's just really easy to, when you know what you're reading these things in the context of English words one after another to form sentences, it's very easy. I've never once been confused or felt misled or anything by any of these reports. You want to know why? Because I learned how to fucking read, and I know how to do it, and it's not hard, and it's not hard to understand or grasp. And I think people that have these sticks up their ass about wrestling journalists and reporting are just so consumed with blind hate that they make up their own stories, they make up their own adventures, they choose their own narratives, and they say shit that is just plain not true. They are reading what they want to read and deciphering it their own way. They are not reading these words for what they say. They're reading the words as their idiotic brains are deciphering them. It's embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing. And instead of the Mercedes Moné situation being fun and exciting to speculate, because I don't know about you guys. I don't know where you guys went to wrestling fan school, but you sure as shit didn't go to where I went, because never once back in the day when I was younger in the WCW and WWE Monday Night Wars, wondering who's jumping ship and whatnot, I was never once reading these reports or listening to these hotlines getting mad. Well, I wish they would make up their mind. No, I was like, oh, this is cool. Maybe he's going to go there. Maybe he's going to go there. So-and-so might be on Nitro this week. She might be on Raw this week. That type of stuff was so much fun. And I've just been able to pick that up and resume that now since AEW is around and we have free agents that could turn up in one company or the other. But you read all these online reports. This source expects her to sign here. This source expects her to sign here. And to me, I'm like, cool. That means we don't know where she's going to show up. And when she does, it will be cool to kind of learn that together. But no. It's all about the rage, the outrage, the unhinged anger towards wrestling journalists. Get a fucking life. Go find a crumb of coochie. Get some bitches, touch some grass, smell some fresh air, get some goddamn sunlight. What the hell, man? Why are you getting yourself all twisted in a knot over something that should be fun? Why are you attacking journalists over this? What do you do for a living that allows you to be this way? What is your relationship status? Because all these people hide behind fake avatars and one name with 13 numbers next to it. What do they do? What's your job? How do you make money? What do you do for a living? Do you have a girlfriend, a relationship, a friend at all? What the fuck do you do with your life that makes you this way? Because it's crazy, man. And I see this Mercedes Moné situation as one of the prime examples why having two wrestling companies and having competition is so great, because of situations like this. Not once during this whole Mercedes Moné, where is she going to land saga, have I been pissed. I've been the opposite of pissed. I've been like, oh, cool. We don't know where she's going to go. And I'm thinking in my head of scenarios in both companies. Okay, if she went to AEW, oh my God, her and Toni Storm. Oh shit, her and Mariah May. Oh, Britt Baker gets back into the mix. That would be great. Oh, all the different women she could work with. That's awesome. I think about her back in WWE. Oh shit, Bayley is about to get her ass kicked by Damage Control. She sure could use a friend right now. Here comes Sasha Banks to pick her up. Now, in a year's time, we might be able to get that 4 horsewomen WrestleMania match. You know, I think about scenarios in both companies and it gets me excited. Why? Because I am a wrestling fan. Yes, I'm a podcaster and a YouTuber, but at the end of the day, I'm a fan. Why the fuck do you think I'm doing this? So I like to speculate and wonder and think about what it would be like for her in both companies. Wasting my time, shitting my pants at wrestling journalists and getting mad and threatening their families and shit. Who taught you to be this filled with hate and rage? What made you this way? What the fuck happened to you in school, in your personal life? Did somebody finger you? Like, what the fuck? I don't understand what these people's problem are because I think this is really cool. And there's a whole bunch of women right now that could all show up at WWE at once. I mean, Mercedes Moné, I am of the belief it will probably be AEW, but I don't know for sure. And I'm not going to know for sure. And nobody else is going to know for sure either until it happens. That's why journalists who do things properly say as much. Every one of Sean's reports said, this is just what we're hearing. So-and-so said they expect her here, but nothing is confirmed. And then when you hear the report that, oh, she might be talking to WWE, you lied. I'm like, no, you can't read. It's not hard to figure out. And then you think about all the other stuff, like Trinity Fatu, who has been rumored to be leaving TNA and heading back to WWE. Imagine if she showed back up. maybe that's part of the reason why Mercedes is now maybe rethinking everything. Okay, maybe I should start talking to WWE again. Maybe I can lower my offer because Trinity's going back. I think that could be a lot of fun. Or if she can go to AEW, she can get the money and probably be right in the title picture almost immediately. So Trinity Fatu has been rumored to be coming back to WWE. Julia is expected to sign with WWE as well. I think even in one of her Stardom matches, the commentators referenced her being signed or going to be leaving for a major wrestling company. She's going to be taking her time doing it. No rush getting there. She's going to work on her English and finish up with Stardom. And apparently she's going to be coming to WWE, probably going to be heading to NXT, which is what she should do. And also Camille, who was recently finished up with NWA. We heard that a couple of weeks ago, and I expected her to be picked up by WWE. I did not feel like AEW was going to be where she was going to land. I felt like it was going to be WWE, and she would be signed or brought into NXT. And apparently that is the deal. Dave Meltzer is reporting in the latest Observer that the 31-year-old Camille is expected to sign with WWE and will be heading to NXT. Imagine Camille and Jade Cargill training together. Holy shit. So even without Mercedes, you're getting Trinity and Camille and Julia probably here in the next couple of months. If they don't get Mercedes, who cares, man? Mercedes is still young with a lot of career road ahead of her. She can go over to Tony Khan for 3 years, kick ass over there, make crazy money, come on back, main event WrestleMania 44 or something like that. So I think that Mercedes could do anything. And when I think about her in both companies, I'm not even sure. I think it's fine to have a preference. You know, don't get me wrong. I think it's totally fine if you prefer Mercedes in one company over the other. Of course, that's totally fine. It's just the enraged, unhinged, batshit crazy anger that is kind of confusing to me. But Mercedes, I personally am not sure if I have a preference. I kind of like the way both sound. I feel like if Mercedes Moné really wants to have a chance to create any sort of a legacy or career outside of WWE, this is when she needs to do it because she's already been doing it. She spent the last couple of years establishing herself as Mercedes Moné. She recently filed for a bunch more trademarks. If she goes back to WWE, she's going to be Sasha Banks. But if she signs with AEW in a multi-year deal, she now has some years to establish that Mercedes Moné legacy. And maybe that's what she wants to do as well, because if she goes to AEW, she will 1 trillion% be AEW Women's Champion within the first year of her contract. 1 trillion%. Absolutely. So just depends on what her motivations are, money, legacy, whatever. I feel like it's going to be AEW just because of the trademark news and all of that. I feel like she'll sign with AEW, but I feel like I'm almost split. I feel like both scenarios sound good. Sasha coming back into the company at a time when WWE is so fucking hot right now, I think would be really awesome to see. But her coming out and getting in the face at Toni Storm, shit, that would be, and who knows, maybe Wendy Richter will come in and join her. But Mercedes and Toni is a really cool concept, and I think Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm would have really good matches together. I do. So I kind of want Mercedes and AEW, maybe by like a half a point. I'm going to give the nod to AEW. That's kind of where I feel like I would prefer Mercedes to be as a fan. All I saw was the poster for the ad for the Bianca Belair and Montez reality show. I love both of them. I love them, but I'm sorry, I can't watch their show. I can't. I never watched a minute of Total Divas or Total Bellas or any of that shit, and I'm not going to start watching something now. So Bianca, Montez, I hope the show is a huge success. Unfortunately, Greg won't be tuning in. Love you both, though. Liv Morgan got those stupid-ass weed charges dropped. We should mention that as well. What about Wrestle Kingdom? Wrestle Kingdom went down the other night. While Wrestle Kingdom was airing, I was home with Elizabeth watching The Devil Wears Prada. That might be my least favorite movie I've ever seen. I did not like it. So I wasn't able to see Wrestle Kingdom, but I did catch some of the highlights, some of the results, and I wrote down some of the things that I thought was the most interesting. Now, number one, the new New Japan president, Hiroshi Tanahashi, defeated Zack Sabre Jr. to win the New Japan TV title. So he is now the new TV champion. And then the next day at New Year's Dash, we saw the debut of Riddle. He appeared in a vignette with some workout, and he had like a suit on or a shirt and tie on. and he challenged Tanahashi for an upcoming match for that championship. So it looks like two former WWE guys might be walking right into the doors of New Japan and winning some championship gold. Tama Tonga defeated Shingo Takagi to win the Never Openweight title. And we had the really interesting match between Moxley, Ospreay, and Dave Finlay to crown the first ever IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. Now, Dave Finlay wins the inaugural title, but prior to the match, Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth, right? The brothers, Dolph and his brother, Dolph Ziggler appeared at ringside. They showed up, they ushered him in, they sat him right down there, and I think he sat there for that match, and the crowd definitely acknowledged him. And then later on in the presser, I guess you've seen that video, that viral video of that guy like jumping over the bench, the courthouse. The dude is in court for something, and the judge denies him a probation request or whatever, and he just leaps like Undertaker diving over the top rope style onto this judge and attacks her. Dolph Ziggler kind of did the same thing as Finlay is doing the press conference there. He dives over the table and attacks him, runs him off and holds the belt and cuts a promo about the belt while holding the belt. And it sounds like we're going to get a Nick Nemeth and Dave Finlay match for this IWGP Global Heavyweight title. And we might have Finlay and Tanahashi who come out of Wrestle Kingdom winning the title, immediately dropping both of them to some incoming former WWE talent. Kind of interesting there. So that's cool that Dolph went there and just didn't go right to AEW. I still think Dolph is going to come into AEW at some point. He's already in New Japan. That's one foot in the door as it is. I think we'll see Dolph in an AEW setting at some point, but stopping off in New Japan first, we'll see, what he does there, if he's on a per appearance deal or if he's actually signed a contract with them, or if he's going to be able to work any AEW matches, because let's just say Nemeth is signed on for a year with New Japan. Forbidden Door's coming up in June, and that would be pretty awesome to see him at that pay-per-view, even if he wasn't in the company totally yet. So we will see. We also got the rematch between Kazuchika Okada and Danielson at the show as well. This was a rematch from Forbidden Door when Danielson got injured. Danielson won that match. I had assumed all year that Okada was going to get his win back here, and he did. Really awesome match between these two from what I could see, and Okada took down Danielson. And we also had, I'm not sure if it was the main event or not, but Tetsuya Naito defeated Sonata to win the IWGP title. And then after the match, there was a lot of extracurricular activity with Evil and Dick Togo attacking Naito, with Sonata actually coming back and helping him out and making the save. So from what I could tell, pretty good Wrestle Kingdom, interesting stuff. New Year's Dash the next day had a couple of good matches on there. Big 8-man featuring Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. and whatnot. I got a little bit of a look at that, but I kind of check in and peek my head into New Japan once or twice every year, and Wrestle Kingdom looked to be pretty decent from the results there. But like I said, I didn't watch the show. I just kind of gathered some highlight clips and the results as best I could. And basically that's some of the highlights from that show. Like I said, we have Royal Rumble, Chamber, and AEW Revolution coming up. AEW Dynamite aired this past Wednesday. This was basically our World's End fallout, correct? Was it not? So we were going to get a lot of, explanation. We might get our first look at our new AEW World Champion and maybe get some questions answered in terms of where they're going to go storyline-wise now that we finally did get the Devil reveal at World's End, which of course was Adam Cole. Now, Samoa Joe was not on the show, so the champ took the night off. Also not on the show was MJF. Now, it sounds like, or it looks like AEW is playing into the whole free agent thing, because even though it was kind of reported and believed that Max has likely already re-upped with the company a couple of months back, a few months back, whatever it was, he spent so much time playing up the free agent bidding of 2024 that they might still want to maybe do that. And since he lost the championship on like the last day of the year, and according to him, he's a free agent in 2024, AEW even went through the trouble of removing him from their roster page. So he's not even on the AEW website anymore, which I believe is just kayfabe in the contract thing. So MJF wasn't there, but we were going to get the devil, Adam Cole, and his explanation. And based on what Adam Cole said in this promo, you are definitely going to expect MJF coming back. So we'll see how they hype that up. We'll see if MJF just reappears somewhere and attacks Adam Cole, or uses Adam Cole, his hatred for Adam Cole, as motivation to re-sign with the company. You know, I was really thinking about going to leave and going to Triple H and the WWE and going to join Cody, but I hate you so fucking bad that I've re-signed with the company for 5 years, whatever, something like that. They might play it in that way, where he comes back to get revenge. But on Dynamite, we got Adam Cole's explanation. I think this opened up the show. So Adam Cole came out with all of the Devil's henchmen. They are going to be known as the Undisputed Kingdom. It's going to be Adam Cole, his best friend, Roderick Strong, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, and Wardlow. And they all come to the ring. Adam Cole, of course, is still injured, so he's sitting in the chair. And he goes on to explain why he did what he did, and it was exactly what we thought. It was because MJF is a manipulating douchebag who's stepped on a lot of throats in his time in AEW, and Adam Cole got fed up and turned the tables on him and went out of his way to destroy everything he could about MJF, destroy him to his core, I think is what he said in the promo. And he said that MJF is gone and is never coming back. So that means he is coming back. And then he goes on to talk about all of his friends in the faction. He talks about his best friend, Roderick Strong. And then he goes on to talk about what their plans are for Samoa Joe, because since Adam Cole got injured, the title, the championship belt part of this has kind of been altered a little bit. Otherwise, it would probably have been Adam Cole winning the championship at World's End, or even maybe Full Gear, and revealing himself as the devil then. But now he can't wrestle for the title right now, but they do have a heavy, and that is Wardlow. And Adam Cole says that Wardlow is going to be challenging and coming after Samoa Joe. And he's going to face Samoa Joe for the championship. And when Wardlow beats Samoa Joe, he's going to forfeit the championship and give it to me. See, that I don't like. That I don't like. Because number one, the look on Wardlow's face was almost like, he definitely was not like an agreement where he was just like that. He was like, yeah, whatever. You think I'm going to give my championship to your little ass? That was basically the look he had on his face. And another reason why I don't like this is because they're already doing it. They're already doing it with Christian and Luchasaurus. It's the same fucking thing. So there's no way that's going to fly. So right off the bat, on night one, we already have a seed planted of dissension in the Undisputed Kingdom. I'm not sure if that's such a good idea. I feel like they should really be united at first. But Wardlow kind of blowing off those comments by Adam Cole is already telling you that he's not going to be down just to hand the title over to Adam Cole. Plus, you would think in kayfabe that isn't legal. You know, the Christian thing was weird enough, but the contract was one that you had to sign. So Killswitch just handed it to him. Christian put his name on it. So at least they had that. But I don't think you can just be passing titles back and forth. But then again, we've been seeing that a lot with the Ring of Honor tags already as it is. So we'll see if that's even a possibility. I think it'll likely be a Wardlow and Samoa Joe match with Samoa Joe retaining. That's kind of the way I see it there. So it's probably going to be moot. Wardlow's not going to be in a position to hand the title over to Adam Cole because I don't think he's going to win it to begin with. But at least he's going to get a championship match, probably on pay-per-view, and maybe that will be Revolution. Maybe it'll be Wardlow and Samoa Joe. It might be. And at some point, MJF's going to come back. Maybe that will also be saved for Revolution. Maybe he'll show up and cost Wardlow the championship against Samoa Joe. But then again, he's kind of probably a little bit mad at Samoa Joe too. I don't know. But I like Adam Cole as the centerpiece of a faction. Undisputed Era was crazy fun in NXT. This can probably have a lot of similarities. I just maybe didn't like the fact that they're already kind of using Wardlow. Like, why would Adam Cole just assume that Wardlow is going to hand him the title? Unless, like in the Christian situation, he has something on him, but I don't think that he does. Wardlow seems to be motivated by, MJF revenge, So I don't know how all that's going to work. So After after Cole says Wardlow's going to forfeit the title, out comes Jay White, who was the very first person, don't forget, to get attacked by these masked men. He comes out with the Ass Boys. They hit the ring. Brawl starts, but they get outnumbered. And then the Acclaimed and the Ass Boys' daddy Ass come out to kind of make the save and run off the heels there. And father came out to help son, but there was no unity there. Jay White and the Ass Boys retreated, got out of there, and there was a little bit of a hesitation there to play nice between the two. And then we had, later on, we had Christian's State of the Union address, which was much like Adam Cole's thing. And now I feel like you have two factions kind of doing the same thing. Christian, though, is just being extra horrible. Of course, he's got Nick Wayne and his mom now under his wing, and he's still extremely dismissive and abusive towards Killswitch. And he goes on to tell Nick Wayne how much he loves him. And then he starts talking up, the man I need to thank, the man that made this all possible for me to even be standing here with the TNT title right now, a man who has sacrificed himself for me time and time again. I would like to thank myself. And you could just see like Luchasaurus's head go down. So they are really, really letting you know that at some point Christian's world is going to crumble. And I feel like Christian is going to do so many horrible things. I feel like the payoff that we're going to get here, maybe not payoff, but the next chapter of this, once this whole thing runs its course and you can't squeeze any more asshole out of Christian, once he is just drained of all the asshole energy he has, his whole world crumbles around him. Nick Wayne and his mom get fed up with his bullshit. Maybe Nick Wayne, kicks him in the balls or something, and the mom slaps him, and then Killswitch, all of that, the months of that abuse bubbles over, and he just fucking destroys Christian and absolutely annihilates him. And, Christian is now down on his luck, broken. And, then maybe Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne don't let up. They keep coming after him. They just want more retribution, more revenge, to where Christian is, a broken man left with nothing, no friends, no family. Everybody has walked out on him. But the only person that might be willing to forgive the horrible things that he said is the guy that's been with him his whole life. Maybe it's the same thing with like Sasha and Bayley. I can see Bayley like where she's taken out and then Sasha comes out, makes a save and reaches her hand out and lifts her up. Just like in the Invasion angle, when The Undertaker helped up Kurt Angle. That was a huge moment for me as a fan. And, something like that, and seeing Edge come out and forgive Christian, so to speak. And then maybe the two of them have a quick little run together. They win the tag team titles, and then maybe Edge retires in a couple years. I don't know. That's looking way ahead. But I feel like Christian and Adam Cole kind of doing the same thing here in their factions. I don't know if that's going to be too similar. I don't know if that could maybe result in maybe a little feud. Christian, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne against, a couple of Undisputed Kingdom guys. Who knows? We will see. But Christian thanks himself, and Luchasaurus gets dicked over once again. We had Trent Beretta defeating Brian Keith, Vikingo, and Brian Cage to earn a shot at Eddie Kingston's Continental Crown title. That match airs tonight in about an hour on Collision, by the way. And how about that debut for Mariah May? This was so fun. This was like 3 debuts in one. She is so fantastic. Before the match, she's facing Queen Aminata, by the way, in this match, who was also debuting on Dynamite. And before the match, she was like, how can somebody debut in my debut? Wouldn't that like cancel out the debuts? She's hilariously entertaining. She's the perfect pairing with Toni Storm. The two of them, I think, are the two most entertaining women in the company, and they're actually paired together, which is weird. But Mariah May has just come in and hit the ground running. She really feels ready for television. She feels TV ready. She's very funny, very good timing, and she really seems to do well in front of the camera, and she's got hilarious wit to her. I don't know what it is. She's just really, really funny. And her matches, oh my God, are spectacular. Did you see this thing? Jesus Christ, some of the things these women were doing in there. This Queen Aminata girl is pretty damn good, and she was selling her ass off for Mariah May. Great match, great selling, hard hitting. Mariah May is the real deal. And luckily, she does win her debut. She puts down Queen Aminata in a really hard-fought, competitive match that I enjoyed. And after the match, Renee Paquette comes in to interview Mariah, and that's when Deonna Purrazzo shows up. So she gets signed recently by AEW. That was reported recently, I think this week. So she shows up and she confronts Mariah May. Mariah, powders out, and Deonna gets on the mic and says a few things. She is now All Elite, and this was basically kind of 3 debuts in one, with Mariah May getting her debut almost spoiled, kind of spoiled, almost spoiled once, and then she was able to win. But then Deonna Purrazzo comes out at the end. So that's awesome that Purrazzo's there. Best of luck to her. I feel like it's been a long time coming. I expected to see her in AEW before this, and I don't think she had a really good run in NXT from what I remember. So hopefully this will all go well for her. Husband was there, by the way, Macklin, watching in the crowd. That was cool. So big debut, big get for AEW, and that's really, I think, helping their women's division, having signees like that. We had what might be my favorite match so far of 2024. I think that it is Darby Allin and Takeshita. Holy fucking shit. This was such an awesome and perfect match to book Takeshita in, because, he's a big guy and he just really was manhandling Darby through a lot of this stuff. But again, Darby is about to go climb Mount Everest. I think his body needs a damn break, because it's the typical shit. It's the crazy diving torpedo, flipping suicida into oblivion, top rope coffin drops, crazy ass unprotected suplex on the ramp. Just the huge, basically, with Darby Allin. And some of the spots in this match between these two was so fun. Takeshita caught Darby with a knee at one point that I just thought was legit and legitimately knocked him out. Takeshita hits Darby with like an avalanche German from the top rope. Just insane stuff. I forget, was it the power drop knee? What's his finisher called? He damn near took Darby Allin's head off with that for the win. And it was a pretty definitive win for Takeshita. This thing was competitive as all hell, don't get me wrong, but Takeshita put Darby down, and I thought that was just a huge win for him. I think Takeshita is one of AEW's future stars. A lot of people referred to this Dynamite on Wednesday as kind of a reset for the company, and I could kind of see that, because it was, it wasn't packed with a whole lot of like star power per se, but you can see the people that AEW is setting up to be the leaders of, 2024. And Takeshita is going to be one of those leaders. We also had Orange Cassidy defeating Dante Martin to retain the international title. After the match, Danhausen and Hook came out, and as well as Darius Martin as well. And that's when we got the return of Private Party. So their music hits, they come back, they make their return. It's been a while since we've seen Mark Quinn. They get on the mic and basically put all the other tag teams on notice. But at the end of the day, it is Orange Cassidy retaining his title. And then we had a pretty fun main event as well between Swerve Strickland and Daniel Garcia. I loved this match main evented because it was going to be used as a setup to get Hangman Page and Swerve in the ring together. Now, earlier on in the show, Renee Paquette was backstage interviewing Matt Menard, who was going to be on commentary for this match. And that's when Hangman kind of showed up, very Stone Cold Steve Austin-like, got right into the interview, was looking for a fight. His beard has grown a little bit more now, and he seemed really, really pissed. So Swerve and Daniel Garcia have a heck of a match together. Swerve gets the win. And then at the end, as Swerve's celebrating, Hangman Page's music hits. He comes storming down to the ring right in Swerve's face. They start brawling, big pull apart, lots of anger, lots of rage on Hangman's face. And you can tell that they are going to be setting up a third match between these two, which I guess would probably happen at Revolution unless they try to get this thing done ahead of time on TV. I still feel like Swerve is going to be winning the championship here in 2024. So losing a match now to Hangman is probably fine. Shouldn't do too much damage to him. I thought he was going to lose the last match to Hangman, but he's up 2-0 on him now. So you either get Hangman one win back to, just keep him strong, or you have Swerve put him down for a third time. I don't really care either way. I think both ways could be good, but it was a pretty good way to finish Dynamite, and that Swerve Hangman feud and story is going to go down as a pretty big one of the last couple of years, especially when it's all said and done. So Dynamite looked to be pretty good this week, and I think they did just over 800,000 in the ratings, so they were down a bit, but in a rebuilding type of show, I thought the show was structured well. I liked all of the matches, and there was a couple of really big standout moments there with Darby and Takeshita, with everything that Mariah May did, and of course, making plans for the world title and Samoa Joe. Tonight on Collision, here's what you're going to see going live in less than an hour. FTR versus House of Black. Eddie Kingston defending his title against Trent Beretta. We have Sting and Darby Allin taking on the Workhorsemen. Now, this is great because J.D. Drake is from North Carolina, out there in Shelby, North Carolina. I've been to Shelby before, and I believe Collision is in Charlotte. So that is a huge, huge match for him. He tweeted something to the effect of, I can't believe I get to wrestle my fucking childhood. And that's got to be awesome for him. So I'm very happy that a guy that's probably in his, mid to late 30s, who lives in the Carolinas, gets to be in the ring with Sting. That's probably a big thrill for him. So happy for the Workhorsemen. Unfortunately, the Workhorsemen are going to lose, but that's okay. Still a big thrill to be in the ring with Sting, I'm sure. I'm fucking jealous. We're also going to get Sky Blue versus Kiera Hogan, and we will hear from Adam Copeland. So that's what's on tap for Collision tonight. And with Revolution coming up in a couple of months, it's going to be Sting's retirement, Samoa Joe, big title defense, possibly more Christian and Adam Copeland stuff. And maybe we will see Mercedes in the company by then. And we can get her in the ring with Tony Storm ASAP, because I think that would be a super fun program. Unless they take it slow and they get Mercedes involved with someone else first before she moves into the world title. But I kind of hope that she shows up in AEW. What do you guys think? Let's go back to the chat and answer more stuff. See what you guys are saying here. Ooh, somebody's gifting membership. Sorry, I'm just getting everything refreshed here so I can see what's happening. The Juliet has gifted 1 membership to our friend Randy Troutman. Right on. Very nice of you, Juliet. You're the best. Good to see. Who is that? Oh, I lost you. I wanted to say hi to somebody. Now I lost your name. My bad. Oh, that's right. Matt Riddle is on MLW pay-per-view tonight versus Jacob Fatu. That's right. He's signed with MLW and I guess going to be working New Japan as well. Certainly wasn't hard for him to find work, was it? Smitty. Yeah, I don't think MJF's going to be gone too long. I mean, at some point he's going to want to reemerge, but also the storyline of MJF being gone might be a way to buy time for Adam Cole just to continue to rehab that injury. And maybe they hold off MJF until Cole is healthy. I just don't know what the recovery timetable was like for the injury he had to begin with. So I don't even know if we're still looking at a couple months or if he's maybe at the tail end of this thing, or if he might be recovered earlier than we think. And they're going to do the whole spot where he's going to be healed the whole time and that type of thing. So we'll see. Are you the only person that thinks Nick Nemeth sounds better than Dolph Ziggler? Probably not. I've never liked the Dolph Ziggler name. I always thought it was stupid. I don't know. I'm not upset about getting that match again. Hangman and Swerve. Sorry, just reading some comments here, seeing if there's anything interesting that I can touch on. Okay, there we go. Ospreay's last possible singles match as a member of New Japan is against Okada at Battle of the Valley. That's right. Battle of the Valley, that's where the Riddle and Tanahashi match will happen as well, right? The Juliet Salamonster, shout out to Salamonster, proposed a triple threat at Revolution between Swerve, Hangman, and Joe, with Hangman taking the fall to preserve Swerve winning the title down the line. I'm fine with a scenario like that too. That would be all right. But the way Adam Cole mentioned Wardlow, I don't know if they might have to get something done ahead of time, like if they need to determine the number one contender. So we've had Wardlow putting his name in the hat, and if Swerve is going to get a shot too, maybe there is some sort of match on TV for an eliminator match or something, and the triple threat is birthed out of that. But I'm not sure if Swerve, Hangman, Joe is going to be what we're going to see next, with Wardlow making his thoughts known. I almost feel like Wardlow is going to be the first challenger for Joe, and Joe's going to beat him. That's what I feel. And I think Swerve and Hangman, maybe you do one more match with Swerve. The thing with Swerve is that even though I'm very much in agreement with anybody that says he should be world champion in 2024, he doesn't need to be world champion in February of 2024. I'm cool to wait, or March maybe is when Revolution is. I don't think it needs to happen right away. I think there's too much going on with Joe, Cole, Devil, MJF, all that stuff to have Swerve get inserted into this right now. In my mind, I've always felt like a Swerve title run or title program would probably start or end maybe somewhere in the Double or Nothing area. You know what I mean? Like a little bit later on in the year. And shit, maybe even that could be something you do it All In. Swerve, think about what Swerve did last year at All In. Fucking epic casket match loss, coffin match loss to Sting and Darby. And I feel like, or Darby, is that what it was? Darby and Swerve? Was it a tag? I think it was a tag. I don't remember. But it was an awesome match either way. And it was one-on-one. And for him to come back full circle now, main event that very same show, and this time win the championship, I'd almost prefer that. That would be a star-making moment. They need a big moment like that at a big mega show. And Swerve, who knows, man? Maybe even by then, by the time we get to August, he does more shit with Hangman. Swerve might be a babyface, man, by the time we get to August. You don't even know, because I feel like fans are already kind of behind him as it is. But I feel like Swerve, heel or babyface, winning the championship in the main event of All In front of, I'm going to guess, 70,000 people, 65,000 people, would be pretty damn sweet and a pretty awesome moment cemented in the history of AEW. I'd be fine with that. So with me, I don't need to see Swerve win the title at Revolution. I'm cool if it doesn't happen there. Maybe August is too long. Maybe Double or Nothing is just right. That might be that Goldilocks pay-per-view. So we will see. And if all possible, I would like to go to Double or Nothing in Vegas. Right on. Okay, well, I think that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you guys for being here. I got to wrap up business now and then head off to work. But don't forget, we will be back here tomorrow night. We're going to watch WWE Royal Rumble 1998. We're going to watch Undertaker get charred extra crispy. And we're going to watch probably the most predictable fucking Royal Rumble match of all time. But it's still going to be fun. We'll crack open some cold ones. We'll hang out. It will be a time. Thanks again for being here. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions and of what you thought of my Rock and Roman Reigns comments from earlier on. If you are just joining in now, at the beginning of the show here, we spent the first hour laying out lots of different Rock and Roman Reigns scenarios, including Rock and Roman at Chamber, Rock and Roman at Mania, Roman dropping the belt before Mania, triple threats, people working both nights. We talked about it all. So if you haven't listened to that yet and you'd like to hear it, scroll back. You can hear all that good stuff. And it was fun as always, guys. Thanks for being here. Have a great rest of your Saturday afternoon. And I look forward to hanging out with y'all tomorrow night for Rumble 98. Y'all be good.